I never thought my family would choose a lie over me. But standing in my childhood bedroom with my mother's cold eyes boring into mine, I realized they already had. You're coming home, Surrey, that's final. My mother's voice was steel. No warmth. No negotiation. Just a command wrapped in the pretense of concern. I was 21 years old. I had a scholarship. A life. A future that was finally mine. But to my family, none of that mattered. Because my cousin Priya was getting married, and apparently that meant I had to sacrifice everything I'd worked for to play the role of the dutiful daughter who'd never left. Mom, I can't just drop out of university. I'm in my 3rd year, you can finish later. She waved her hand like my education was a hobby I could pick up whenever. Priya needs you here. The wedding is in 3 months, and there's so much to do, besides. Our lips pressed into a thin line. People are talking. There it was. The real reason. Not love. Not family. People are talking. I'd left home 2 years ago for university in another city. It wasn't far, just 3 hours by train, but to my family, I might as well have moved to another planet. Every phone call was an interrogation. Every visit home felt like walking into a courtroom where I was always guilty of something I couldn't name. What are people saying? I asked. Oh, I already knew. That you think you're too good for us now. That you've forgotten where you came from. That you're becoming too independent, too Western. She spat the last word like poison. Priya's in-laws are traditional people, sorry. They're watching. They're judging. And if you're not here, if you don't show that this family is united, it reflects badly on all of us. My chest tightened, so I have to put mine entire life on hold because of what strangers might think. They're not strangers. They're family. Or they will be. My mother stepped closer, her expression softening just enough to be dangerous. I know this is hard, Beta. But sometimes we have to make sacrifices. I gave up my dreams for this family. Your grandmother did the same. It's just how things are. But I didn't want things to be how they'd always been. I wanted different. I wanted more. My father barely looked at me during dinner that night. He ate in silence while my mother listed everything I'd need to do once I came home properly. Organize the sand sheet. Coordinate with the caterers. Help Priya with shopping. Be available. Be present. Be good. Priya herself sat across from me, staring at her plate. We used to be close. Best friends, even. But somewhere along the way, she'd started looking at me with something that looked a lot like resentment. You don't have to do this, I whispered to her later, when we were alone. She looked at me with hollow eyes. Do what? Drag me down with you. Her laugh was bitter. You think this is about you. Sorry, not everything is about your precious freedom. Some of us don't have a choice. Some of us have to stay and do what's expected. You do have a choice. No, I don't. She stood abruptly. And now you don't either. Welcome home. The next morning, I woke to my uncle standing in my bedroom doorway. Uncle Vikram, my father's older brother, the patriarch, the man whose word was law, Surrey. We need to talk. My stomach dropped. He sat on the edge of my bed, uninvited. Your mother tells me you're resisting coming home. I want to understand why. I explained. My scholarship. My courses. My research project. My future. He listened with the patience of someone waiting for a child to finish a tantrum. I understand ambition, he said finally. But ambition without family is meaningless. You're young. You don't see it yet. But one day, when you're older, you'll realize that the only thing that matters is family, not degrees, not careers, family. What if I can have both? You can't. His voice was firm. Not the way you want. If you stay away, you'll lose us. You'll become a stranger in your own home. Is that what you want? That's not fair. Life isn't fair, sorry. But it's simple. You're either with us or you're not. I felt the walls closing in that afternoon. Priya's fiance's family came for tea. I was paraded out like a show pony, smiled, served snacks, answered evasive questions about my studies with carefully neutral answers that wouldn't make me seem too educated or too ambitious. I watched my mother's eyes on me the entire time, monitoring, controlling. After they left, she pulled me aside. You did well, but Auntie mentioned she's concerned about your independence. She said her son wants a family where the women are supportive, present. She paused. If you go back to university, it sends the wrong message. Mom, I'm not marrying him. Priya is, but they see you as part of the package. If you're too modern, too distant, they'll think Priya will become like you after marriage. We can't risk that. I stared at her. So I have to give up my life so Priya's in-laws will approve of her. You have to give up your selfishness so this family doesn't fall apart. That night, I called my best friend from university, Maya, the only person who understood. They can't force you to stay, she said. You're an adult. They're not forcing me. They're just making it impossible to leave. I explained the pressure, the guilt, the emotional blackmail disguised as love. Suri, if you stay, you'll regret it. You know that, right? I did. But I also knew what leaving would cost. 2 weeks passed. The pressure mounted. My mother stopped speaking to me unless it was to give instructions. My father sighed heavily whenever I entered a room. Priya avoided me entirely. Uncle Vikram started making comments about disrespectful daughters who abandoned their duties. Then came the breaking point. I found my laptop open, my email account accessed, my scholarship coordinator's message opened, the one confirming my continuation for next semester. My mother stood in the doorway. I replied for you, she said calmly. I told them you're withdrawing. The world tilted. You what? I did what needed to be done. You weren't going to make the right choice, so I made it for you. Rage. Pure white-hot rage. You had no right, I had every right. I'm your mother, and I'm saving you from a mistake you'll regret. The only mistake I'll regret is listening to you. She slapped me. Not hard, but hard enough. The shock of it was worse than the sting. You will not speak to me that way. Her voice shook. I have sacrificed everything for you, everything, and this is how you repay me? With disrespect, with selfishness? I touched my cheek, stared at her, and in that moment I saw it clearly. This wasn't love. This was control. That night I packed a bag. Not everything. Just enough. My laptop. My documents. Clothes. I moved silently, heart pounding, hand shaking. I waited until 3 a.m. when the house was silent. I left a note on my bed. I love you, but I can't stay. I'm sorry. I walked out the front door, closed it softly behind me, and didn't look back. I stayed with Maya for 2 weeks while I sorted everything out. Called my scholarship coordinator, explained the situation, begged for reinstatement. She was understanding. The email had raised red flags. I got my place back. My phone exploded with messages, calls, voicemails. My mother, how could you do this to us? My father, you've shamed this family. Uncle Vikram, you're no longer welcome here. Priya, I hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. But Maya's words echoed. Louder, you chose yourself. That's not selfish. That's survival. 6 months later, I heard through a distant cousin that Priya's wedding had happened. Smaller than planned. Quieter. The in-laws had been concerned about family stability after my departure. But it had happened. Part of me felt guilty, but a larger part felt free. I finished my degree. Top of my class. Got an internship at a research institute. Started building the life I'd always wanted. On my terms. A year after I left, my mother called. I almost didn't answer. Sorry. Her voice cracked. I need to tell you something. I waited. Priya left him, her husband, 3 months after the wedding. He was controlling, cruel. She's home now, broken. My breath caught. I keep thinking. My mother's voice broke. If we hadn't pushed so hard, if we'd let her have more time, more choice, maybe she would have seen the signs. Maybe she wouldn't have felt so trapped that she couldn't say no. Silence stretched between us. I was wrong, she whispered, about you. About what family means. I thought control was love. I thought sacrifice was duty. But I pushed you away. And I pushed Priya into hell. I closed my eyes. Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. I wanted you to know. You were right to leave. And I'm sorry I made you feel like you had to. We talked for 3 hours that night. She told me everything. The pressure she'd faced. The dreams she'd buried. The resentment she'd carried. The fear that if I succeeded where she'd failed, it would mean her sacrifices had been pointless. But they weren't pointless, I said softly. You survived, you kept us safe. That mattered. But Mom, you don't have to keep sacrificing, and neither do I. It took time. Slowly, carefully, we rebuilt. Something. Not what we'd had before. Something different. Something honest. I visited home 6 months later. My father hugged me for the first time in 2 years. Uncle Vikram was stiff but civil. Priya and I sat on the porch and talked until sunrise. She was healing. Slowly. Painfully. But healing. I was so jealous of you, she admitted. You were brave enough to leave, I wasn't. You're brave now, I said. You left when it mattered most. She squeezed my hand. Maybe we both are. Looking back now, standing in my own apartment with my degree framed on the wall and my future stretched out before me, I understand something my mother couldn't teach me but had to learn herself. Family isn't about control. It's not about sacrifice for sacrifice's sake. It's not about erasing yourself to fit someone else's expectations. Real family is the people who see you, truly see you, and love you. Anyway, real family is the people who want you to fly, even if it means you fly away from them. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself. Not because you don't love them, but because you do. And because you love yourself more.